The million dollar question: how do entrepreneurs transition from self-employed to owning a business that turns a profit? My name is Chris Waters, and this podcast has the million dollar answer. Welcome to CEO Secrets. Hey guys, it's Chris Waters. Welcome to CEO Secrets. I am live right now in our private Facebook group. If you guys are in the real estate industry, you are an agent, a top performing agent, or you've got a real estate team. We have an invitation-only private Facebook group called Chris Waters Rainmaker Alliance, where you guys can watch these these podcasts recorded live. So today I've got a very special guest, Hoss Pratt. Hoss started out as a real estate agent in Dallas, built a very successful business, has spent, over a decade now, Hoss? Helping
12 years.
How many? 12 years. Wow. So over a decade helping train and coach agents to build up their real estate business. So Hoss, thanks for coming on today to CEO Secrets.
Hey man, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we were talking before I hit record here. I personally have sent a lot of people your way to go through your training program to build up their listing inventory, going after expireds and withdrawn for sale by owner and all that kind of stuff. And you published a book 2 years ago, 2017, called Listing Boss, right?
It's right there.
Yep, and then you also give that out to people for free, right?
Yes, and I want to give this to everybody, your listeners, and I want to get this book in their hands. I'll ship it to them. They pay shipping and handling, meaning I'm not going to sell them the book, but you pay the $7.95. I'll ship it to you. Get it, read it. This book, you're going to love it. And they can go to listingbossbook.com and get it for $7.95.
You know what? Not to go too far on a tangent, but we released this book, right?
Yeah, you did.
And these people talk shit in the Facebook comment threads about how it's not free. We charge shipping and handling. And I'm like, it actually does cost money to ship a freaking book out.
Right.
We actually lose money when we send these out, to people as like a promotional type of thing, right? And so anyways, I highly recommend your book. I love everything you're doing. You're also in Texas, you're in Dallas still, right?
In Dallas, yes.
Yeah. So I guess for people that don't know, Hoss, kind of your background, I guess just in a nutshell, can you kind of just maybe a 60-second version of like how you got started in real estate, what you did before you got into coaching?
Yeah, 60 seconds. I'm a farm boy from Missouri. I barely made it through high school. I didn't go to college. I had a mentor as a teenager who took me under his wing. This guy was a millionaire. He gave me several pieces of advice. One of the pieces of advice, he says, move. I said, where do I move? Why do I move? He said, because you become a product of your environment. You need to get out of here. I was like, where do I go? He goes, you go to Texas. I go, why Texas? He goes, you belong there. I said, where? Dallas. And I go, okay. And he goes, you want to go visit? And I was like, yeah. He took me on my first airplane ride, and we flew to Dallas. We drove around that weekend. He made me set the date. He said, you want to move? I go, I want to move. So I said, November 15th, I'm packing my bags. I'm moving here. Didn't know a single soul, Chris. Got here with the intention of getting into real estate. And that for me is how I got into the real estate, but really how I ended up in Dallas is, just several different mentors, but specifically Jimbo, who, he's the architect, buddy. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
And what did he do? What was his background in? Was he an agent, broker? What was his deal?
No, he came from wealth. His family invented the hay baler.
Wow. So
he had money. He'd sit up there on his hill. He had Black Angus cattle. I'd go up there, hang out in his kitchen, and he would just school me, talk to me, talk business, talk entrepreneurship, and the things I was interested in, that I had an interest in, and he just helped me just get real clear about it. And
did you always have this drive, you personally?
I think so. And I'm writing a book right now called Skillionaire, and it'll be available in 2020. And I talk about drive in this book, and I talk about, on the path to becoming the best version of yourself, you have to do the self work. Like you got to go to work on yourself. And part of that journey is realizing what drives you, right? Like why am I ambitious? And And so through that work, I found my ambition. My ambition came from wanting to get hugs when I was 5 years old, and not getting them. Like
What happened? What happened when you were a kid?
well, I was 6, 7 years old. We were in a farm truck, driving to go deliver a mattress. We're on a bridge. We hit a pothole, and the door flew open, and I fell out of the truck. And I fell out, and moving down the road, I'm rolling, almost rolled off into the bridge, caught myself on the guardrail at the last minute. I'm sitting there. I see my dad come running up, and he's running up, and he's freaking out, and he's crying, and he just is terrified. And he picks me up, and he gives me the biggest hug, and he is just crying and bawling, just telling me how happy I am that I'm alive. And as a kid, that's why I'm ambitious, is I would do anything to feel that love again. And for me, it was to make my dad proud. That's what drove me. That's what made me who I am. And I know everything stems down to that day that I fell out of that pickup truck. And, that's where it all started for me, because, I would do anything to feel that emotion again.
What were some of your challenges growing up? Like, what were some of your big hurdles you had to overcome in your youth?
I was the third child, so nobody cared about me. Right? I had 3 brothers, and they were all athletes. I was always, chubby, husky, a little fat, overweight, and so I never was the athlete that they were, and that's how my family got their significance, was through athletics. And so I was a loner, man. Like, I would go collect cans in ditches, mow grass, and I've just ways to make money, and that's where I spent my time. And
chip on your shoulder, something to prove.
But you know what I learned, though, Chris? That got me through my teenage years. That got me through my 20s. But today I've achieved everything I've ever set out to achieve. I have nothing to prove to nobody. And at that point, you got to go dig deeper again to find what is going to drive you in the next decade, in the next 20 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? When you've achieved everything that drove. So for me, that's been my journey. Today I have a family, 3 daughters. Oh
man, I have 2 girls, right?
Do you?
And I'm trying to convince my wife to go for 3, and I'm like, I hope it's a boy, and it's probably going to be a girl.
Hey man, the girls are the best, dude. I love being a dad to all girls.
Yeah, my two girls are awesome. I love it. The girls love.
It takes a special man to raise
daddy,
girls,
right?
Man. You were chosen.
They always love daddy, even when they get older. It's the mom, right? It's the mom. Right. When they get in their teenage years.
Yeah, that's right.
We're lucky with that. Well, so what did you do in your peak year as an agent in Dallas? Like, what was the most number of listings you sold?
What I did is when I first moved to Texas, I got into real estate. I went broke my first 6 months, and then I discovered the niche for sale by owners that 6 month. And I called my first FSBO, and I set my first appointment, took a listing that day, and 30 days later I had 30 listings. And I went on to become Rookie of the Year. My business continued to grow. I grew really fast. And so I was being interviewed. People wanted to know what I was doing. From early on, people wanted to know, how are you doing that? And so for me, my business grew to 20 million by that third year. And by that fourth year, I was teaching people how to do it in the system. So I sold real estate for 5 years. And then, but I've been training and coaching ever since then. But for me, it was fast. It was like, boom, started, and then I started teaching people, and then that took me to a whole other place.
So for sale by owners, setting the appointment, I don't want to get into the nuances of this, but
sure.
Calling for sale by owners, not too hard because they want to talk to you. Getting face-to-face and converting them is the challenge, but specific to the act of calling and outbound prospecting, I can't speak about all the markets across the U.S., but not a whole lot of for sale by owners right now, which is kind of interesting because the market's so good. Right. But there's I've noticed in our market in Austin that the number of expired listings is starting to go back up quite a bit. and the market's good. You know, there's just a lot of people that don't know what they're doing trying to help homeowners, right? And so, there's a big opportunity. I think this is going on in a lot of cities across the U.S. with expireds. There's big opportunity there, but one of the challenges with expireds is, there's a lot of heat on people that call expireds from a legal perspective. I think KW in Florida settled, I don't know what they settled for, but, because of their training program going after prospecting expireds. What do you recommend when it comes to expireds to, book appointments if, obviously the DNC list is crushing, 80% of your list?
That's a great question, man. It's something that I think about every day, in terms of when things change and how are they going to change. I mean, my cell phone has rang 10 times today from numbers that I don't know.
And something else crazy is on my phone, on caller ID, it says spam risk.
Right.
It says spam risk now.
Yeah.
So if you're using Mojo, the cold call or whatever, I'm wondering how long until you get labeled the spam risk. You know what?
That's the thing, and that's going to change. It hasn't changed yet in terms of laws, but it's inevitably going to change. There's more lawsuits going on right now with robocalls, with people calling, prospecting, and it's going to change. I always look at it like this: well, it hasn't changed yet in most markets, so do what you can now before anything changes. And when things change, you adapt. It doesn't mean that it goes away. It means that you got to find a new way. And it's like the do not call list. I mean, for me, Chris, I've always called the do not call list. I always looked at it, in real estate, like I'm not selling something, and I've never been fined. I'm not saying that you wouldn't, but for me, I was confident in my approach, and I was good on the phone, am good on the phone, and I tap dance around those laws. But I think that the thing is doing more than just calling, being omnipresent, leveraging texting and as long as we can, phone calls, from retargeting to emails, just reaching them in the mailbox in any way that we can, as different as you used to not be able to text, Chris. When I sold real estate, text messaging didn't exist.
Yeah.
If it did, my business would have been twice the size as it was, right?
Yep.
Emails didn't exist when I sold real estate.
Mm-hmm.
It was Facebook didn't exist. Social media, retargeting.
Hold on, let me check and see how old you are. Okay, so when you had the MLS, did it come in a binder?
No, I'm not that old. Hey, that's good. That's good though. The 3-ring binder. And
I'm just messing with you, man. I know you weren't.
No, I'll say this, Chris. I'm 38 years old.
Yeah,
I'm an old soul though, buddy. I feel I'm way older than 38. But
yeah, no, you're only a couple years older than me.
Yeah, but
I'm giving you a hard time, man.
That's what people should be concerned about is the value proposition that a real estate agent brings to the marketplace. The value was easily established when we had a 3-ring binder, and you wanted to go look at homes, and you had to come see me because I have the 3-ring binder with all the information in it, and you can't get it anywhere else.
Yep.
In that moment, value is established because it's in the data. Where in today's world, I wouldn't even mention data. We don't compete with data. It's not a value proposition. We have to compete in different ways and establish our value in different ways. And I think that's the thing that most people are missing is they're still trying to establish value based on the data and that they are able to provide. And that's the reason our industry is going through the shift and changes that it will.
What are some of the coolest tools you're seeing in the industry from a technology perspective right now? What are some of the things you're looking at from an outsider saying that's pretty cool?
What's really cool is the ability to text message within campaigns, where you could set up a campaign that says, hey, just wanted to check in. How's everything going on your new property? And you could set up a campaign and that text goes out, 90 days after somebody buys a home. And I love texting in campaigns. I think it's something that allows a lot of the heavy lifting to be done. Yep. It gets people on the phone with you without you having to go through all the dials. And I'm a big fan of texting leads within campaigns.
What's your favorite big shiny object right now in the real estate industry?
The big shiny object. That's a good question.
I guess for an example, one of my favorite big shiny objects is two actually. One is a reporting dashboard system that is dynamic. It's like a scoreboard, like in sports for your sales team. And it extracts the numbers from your CRM real time, so people can't BS their numbers.
Right.
And the dashboard thing is called Sisu, SISU.co. And it's freaking awesome. We've been using it for like 6 months now, and it's amazing. And then this tool called RealSync, RealSynch.com. And it's an integration tool built for real estate. And so it'll push and pull data in between all of your different real estate systems. So you're not having to do all this copying and pasting. And like you have your lead gen systems, like pushing all of the leads plus what the lead is actually doing on all these different platforms into your CRM.
Right.
And then, push and pull. So anyways, those are my two favorite.
Those are good, man. One thing that I like right now is I like LionDesk CRM. I'm a big fan of LionDesk CRM because what it does, it allows you to not only text but also leverage video in a way that no other CRM can. And that CRM is growing. They have a huge user base. It's really affordable. Man, and I'm just blown away by the tools that they have in that CRM. There's so much that you can do. But when it comes to shiny objects, I will tell you, I'm not a big shiny object guy. Like I try to avoid rabbit holes, and I know that. Yeah. I know that's not always easy to do, but I love a dashboard though. I think a dashboard in real time. I mean, yeah, it's good stuff. So over the last 12 years of coaching, what's like the most common, like one singular thing you have to really hammer home for people to get them to break through whatever, artificial ceiling they've developed in their business? Like what is that one singular thing 80% of people struggle with? From your perspective that you're trying to help them see, right. The masses, okay? Guys like you and me don't struggle with this as much, but like the masses struggle with prospecting for new business every day. They hate it. They avoid it like the plague. It's not important to them. They know it's important, but it's not. And it's something that most people struggle with. And if I can solve that problem with an agent, then they could go to as high as they want. But that's the one thing, is getting in the habit of making lead generation the number one priority in your real estate business.
What are the small steps to help them get to making that happen so it's more consistent? The ones that have something going on in their head, keeping them from doing it.
Well, I remember when I was on the road 200 days a year, and I was doing seminars, 1,000 seminars, 48 states, and I would ask this question all the time. I'd say, raise your hand if you prospecting lead generate for new business every day. And like just a couple hands would go up, and I would always ask myself, why? Like, why does nobody do it? Like, why is it so hard? And the reason is because they don't know who to call. Like, if I said, I want you to go prospect for sellers tomorrow, and you're going to prospect for 3 hours, they may say, yes, I'm going to do it. But once they get in there, they're like, where do I start? Who do I call? And they don't know who to call. That's the reason most people don't do it. They don't know who to call because they don't have systems in their business. And
what's your favorite system for extracting expireds and withdrawals and pulling the numbers?
Well, to me, So to me, a system is a systematic approach targeting a specific target market with a predetermined result. So a system would be every new FSBO that I get every day from, and I'll answer your question in a minute, from my lead provider, every day goes on this campaign, and this campaign is triggered, and forever this person, it's going to remind that agent what to do. And so it's contacts on campaigns is a solution to doing it. But my favorite is, I like LandVoice. It's the premier seller lead source. They have their pro package, has incredible data, but from social media profiles and all of it.
So, automating expireds, like obviously you can't automate the physical call. You got to pick up the damn phone and do that.
Yes.
But like the texting, emailing, pretty, most people can figure that out. How do you set up your direct mail campaigns that you, so in your one of your programs, your expired program, which I paid for myself,
Right.
you got all these letters, right? And, in the past, what we used to do is we would send a CSV file to a mail house and then tell them to put them on put that list of folks on that take that mail list and put them on that campaign for each of those letters. For each one of those letters, and on predetermined dates. And that's how we set it up. But I was like, I wonder if there's a better way to do it. Is there something else? Man, I always try to make it too easy for salespeople. I just want to be able to push a button and it's like, boom, it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me answer this because I have a unique perspective on it. I created a CRM a few years ago called Fuel. You may remember Fuel.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Fuel was a CRM before a lot of these other services. We are way ahead of the times in terms of automation. What I wanted a system that would automate everything in a real estate agent's business as it pertained to lead generation, from texting to phone calls to having a dialer. I wanted to automate direct mail, postcards, letters, cookies. I wanted to automate all of it. And I did. And here's what I discovered is it was incredible. But what happened was let's say I had a system that did all the direct mail for you, and you put all these leads on this campaign that involved direct mail. Here's what I learned. People would put people on that campaign, the direct mail would go out, and they don't see it going out, but they see them spending money. They see the money going down, how much money it costs to send the letter and the postcard, but they don't physically see it. And what I learned in that is I learned that people need to see what it is that's happening. People like you and I, we can handle automation. Most people, they like to see it. And then for me, that's a biggie there is being able to see what it is that's going out, being able to do it. I think I know when I sold real estate, I hand addressed every letter and I did not put labels on it, so I couldn't automate it. You can now. Now they have machines that do handwriting.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
you probably have one in your office, I bet.
Yeah, we have a service for it. Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, it's automation is like a purple unicorn in a lot of ways. I think as entrepreneurs, we're always seeking. We have a desire for automation, and so often it doesn't come together. It doesn't feel the way that it should. It's discombobulated. It feels clunky. It doesn't feel like it's working. I know for me, that happens in everything I try to do, man. It's what automation is not something that most people, I don't know. I think it's about execution.
Hey, what do you think? So you're in Dallas. There's several iBuyers in Dallas.
Right.
What's your opinion of these iBuyers? You got Zillow in Dallas. You got probably Open Door, OfferPad. Plethora of them in Dallas. What's your opinion of how iBuyers are going to affect the market, and how do you see the future of real estate kind of evolving? Because there's a lot of change happening right now.
Big picture, and this is a question I think about every day. What's the future of real estate look like? And here's all I would tell you. This is what I think. And I don't know when. I don't know if anybody knows when. But I see a time where the real estate transaction becomes the loss leader for the rest of the transactions. Meaning, if I'll give away my commission to get to sell your home, but I get paid on the back end. I'll give you an example. It's like Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. I went around the country for the last 5 years buying brokerages. Right? Everybody, they're getting acquired by them. They're just going in, buying brokerages. And you ask yourself, why are they doing that? Why would Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, be buying brokerages in droves. And what I think is he owns the back end. He owns the furniture store, the insurance company, the title company, the mortgage company. He owns every single component of that back end, and he's positioned to acquire clients through the brokerage that will lead to the rest of the services. So I think that the front end, I honestly think that we're going to have to always continue to establish our value in what we do to earn that commission, and what we, and why we charge what we charge. And I think that, there's going to be room for everybody. I don't see it just being one way though, Chris. I think that there's, people that would need a full service brokerage. The iBuyer would make sense to some, right? And I think that there's a niche for everybody, and no matter what the market does. Mm-hmm. But we as agents and as CEOs have to change and pivot when change is in front of us.
So speaking about that, CEOs, the title of the podcast, CEO Secrets. And there's a book you probably read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And he's got that quadrant in there, and he talks about the self-employed, individual that's a solopreneur, or maybe they've got a team, but they own a job. They don't own a business.
Right.
What do you think, are some of the early steps somebody needs to take that's an agent that's doing really, really what they're doing great. They're selling 25, 50, 60, 70 homes a year. And, but they're market experts. They know how to convert leads, work with clients. Like, they can do it in their sleep, and they're burnout on working nights and weekends, and they want to transition to owning a business. What would you tell them are some of those first initial steps they need to make to start strategically getting themselves in a position where they start having a self-sustaining business that won't necessarily require them?
First thing is that what you want? And I think that you got to go deep on this, because whatever you decide is going to determine, your life in the future and your happiness and what you're working towards. So do you truly want that? And go deep. Like, especially in this industry, we feel like, we just want to grow and scale just because that's where we go. That's where top agents go. And I know for me, Chris, I'm not a big manager of people. I don't love, having a ton of employees. I like, a lean, mean operation with, outsourcing to experts. And I have a unique business model because I wanted freedom. I didn't want to have to go to the office every day to go manage the 65 people that are waiting for me to show up. And I would ask myself, is that truly what you want? In the end, when you get what it is that you think you want, you're a business owner, you have a COO, you have 10 buyer specialists, 5 inside salespeople. Put yourself in that place. And in that place, does that bring you joy? Is that something that you feel that you would, that would bring out your strengths that you are made to do? And that's the first thing is really going deep on your decision on what it is you're going to go build. Go ahead.
I hope people can really appreciate what you're saying, because I think, there's a lot of stuff out there that wants to push people to becoming, building these big mega teams, but that's really not what their strengths are. And so I think that's a good little nugget you just shared.
But I will tell you this, though. So if you do that, or you do what I did, like I went and I sold my business and I became a coach and a speaker. And if I, continue to sell real estate and I, built a business like you're building, that person has to grow. And they are not prepared to be the leader that they need to be. They got to grow into that leader. And it's realizing you don't know what you don't know. And it's about building yourself. Like Chris, you got to build that CEO in you. You got to build the management skills, the organization skills, right? The marketing skills. You got to build those skills of leadership. And I think that a lot of people just think they just step into it, they become it. And I know for me, I had to learn to organize my thoughts and create and write and I had to learn how to create content and communicate it. That was a skill I had to get to be where I wanted to be. And so it's about that skill, that next level skill in leadership and that's what you do. You go work on that one skill.
Who are some of the people that have influenced you the most, Hoss? When you look back over the last 15 years, you got the Jim Bob guy you mentioned, when you were real young. Is that his name, Jim Bob?
I was going to let you
Jimbo?
go. Jimbo. I like Jim Bob, though. That's a little redneck.
Yeah.
Jim Bob.
Yeah.
Jimbo.
When you got into your later years, who are the people that you were learning from? Who influenced you? What are your top favorite books that have changed your life? Tell me who. I want to understand the thought leadership side that you are learning from.
I like wisdom. I like truth, and I believe that personal development, success, the laws of the universe, the laws of everything that we experience every day they're not new. I mean, it's biblical. You go straight to the Bible. That's the greatest personal development book there is. And that's where the truth is. And so I like wisdom, and I like people that are wise. And people that I've learned from that impacted me the most, are dead now, right? The people that, like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil. Amazing books, changed my life. But my favorite was Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn was like my, brother from another mother, man. That guy just spoke to me, and in my fertile mind, I absorbed everything that he gave. I listened to his CDs every day for hours, and he just transformed the way that I think, man. Jim Rohn was had probably the biggest impact on me in terms of personal growth and development. But there's been, Dan Kennedy, is the greatest marketer that probably ever lived. Dan Kennedy is responsible for creating more millionaires than most any other person out there. If you're a student of marketing, all roads lead to Dan Kennedy. You can't avoid Dan Kennedy if you're studying marketing, right? You'll learn from somebody that's smart. And then all roads eventually go to that guy, and he had a big impact on me too.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard. I think Dan passed away recently.
I don't think he did yet.
He did not? Okay.
I got an email 6 months ago that said Dan is on hospice. Yeah. Send in your success stories, and he wants to hear them, and your testimonies to him of how he impacted you. Yeah. And I was like, I got teary eyed. He's one of my guys. When one of my mentors goes down, and these they have consumed my mind for years, and so. Week later, I'm like, man, is Dan still around? Still alive. 2 weeks later, he's still alive. Like 4 months later, he was still alive, and sent an email going, hey, you guys, your testimonials are really helping me. I'm pulling through, and I'm thinking, I think I'm in a damn product launch and don't even know it. Right? Only Dan Kennedy could fake his own death, right? To put butts in seats for his event. So I don't know. I don't know if it's true, if we're all in a product launch, Chris. Yeah. I haven't heard that he died, but yeah, that
is genius.
The people that that like that they're going to live on forever through guys like me and you and the people that learn from them.
Hoss, just some final thoughts as we close out here. What is the product you've created that you feel like is probably the most amazing thing you've created that has had the biggest impact on real estate agents? What is that one, system, program? What is it? Tell me which one it is, because you've created a lot of cool stuff over the years. I bought a lot of it, and it's all great. I'm just curious, from your perspective, what is the one thing you're most proud of?
Listing Boss Academy, I'm most proud of. It's got the best me in it. I gave it my heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears. I poured everything into it I have. It's the best me. It's everything that I know to help a real estate agent get to the top in their business and equip them with the tools and systems to do it, and the marketing and the words to say. I'm super proud of Listing Boss Academy, man. It's hundreds of hours of training and content, and I think it's the greatest in the industry. And people that are in it and take it, it just transforms their business and life. And I'm super proud of Listing Boss Academy.
And then you've also got a book coming out next year, you said, called Skillionaire?
Skillionaire. You know what it means.
What is Yeah, what does skillionaire mean?
I have a shirt that says skillionaire. I was getting off an airplane the other day. The airline stewardess goes, skillionaire, I love it. What does that mean? I just look at her. I say, you know what it means, and walked off. And my daughter was behind me. She goes, Daddy, did you really say that? I'm like, yeah, like she knows what it means. Like, and that's what skillionaire is it's building the skills that we know that we need to go build. And you got to become a skillionaire before you become a millionaire.
Yeah.
And you go to work on yourself. And the keys to freedom is the skills you possess. Like having the skills are what you go to work on, and that understanding and that mindset is something that, I've experienced. I mean, geez, I mean, all odds were stacked against me, but that's the answer, man. It's within. It's going to work on those skills, and that's what the book's about. It's coming out in 2020, and I'm super pumped. I'm excited about it.
What are you most excited about in 2020? What are you most looking forward to, just in general, in 2020 as we approach a new decade?
It's great. I'm excited about my book, Skillionaire. I think it's going to take me places that outside this industry that I could have never thought of. I think, the book is going to take me to a different place.
Is that the next phase in your business? You're going to start kind of going into other verticals to help people?
You'll see me expand.
Yeah.
I teach people what I've learned and mastered, Chris. That's what I do. Like, what I've learned and mastered since Listing Boss and listing homes is, I know how to become an authority in a niche and create content and present content and write content and create products that sell millions and be able to do it. And to me, that's a wide open niche that nobody's teaching and nobody's done it. And I've done it and I have a message for it. And I'm freaking screaming. It's in me to tell and teach. And so you'll see me do that. I'm going to help experts craft their message and share their message and become an influencer. And I'm not going to say that's all I'm going to do, because I'll always coach and work with real estate agents, but as far as my time, I want to work with influencers and experts to help them dominate their niches.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great, man. Hey, you've dropped a lot of nuggets on this podcast. I appreciate you coming on here, Hoss, and appreciate all the work you put out there. We've got somebody on my team in Austin, Texas, going through your program right now. Awesome. And where do people go to get a copy of your book, Listing Boss? Where do they go to get a copy of that?
Go to listingbossbook.com. Listing Boss Book. You can go to Amazon and get it too, but you're going to pay like triple the price. You can go to Amazon and read the reviews. People love this book, but just go to listingbossbook.com and get it, and I'll send it to you. Just pay the shipping and handling.
Cool. Hey, Hoss, thank you again, guys. Thanks for everybody tuning in to CEO Secrets. If you're watching this live on Facebook, if you have any questions, feel free to comment in the Facebook thread. I'll try to answer your questions and pass them on to Hoss. But until next time, thanks again, Hoss. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Chris. Take care.
Bye, everybody.